officials and our intelligence. So we should give them what they deserve. For those who travel a lot to the developed countries and they see what they have done, so you will be wondering why we didn't do so here in Algeria, although all resources that we have, but we can do better. So we have our potentials, we have our capacities, and we have to use these capacities and these resources. So we at the CNASI, we are doing studies, analysis, researches that we will submit it to the government and to the President of the Republic in particular in this period. So we have this collective effort. So with all this mosaic, strong mosaic of different opinions, of different thoughts, so we will pay more attention and show more interest to these studies. So you were with us and you have seen the hard work during the preparation of these recommendations. So this is a good work, outstanding work. So in the beginning, people didn't have this mindset of dialogue and discussions, consultations, but in these last 2 days, we have seen that people have interacted very well. They were well engaged. So even with the ministers, I insisted on the fact that those representatives that they sent them here to participate with us, they should remain until the last minute, because in the past we have seen the representatives of the different ministerial departments and the different national institutions, they came just here to mark their presence, then they leave. So the President of the Republic gave us all this space for dialogue and for we have to use it. So regardless of the people who are attending with us and participating with us, most people ignore these spaces. This is our country, this is our collective country. We cannot think alone and tomorrow you will say that the government was working alone. So you have to take part in this work like you did today. You all participate and you came up with recommendations. So we are learning together. We started this work last year. We are carrying on this work, and with our colleagues from the civil society, our colleagues from the workers' unions, such as the UGT and the independent unions. We are working together. This is a collective space, and we should interact, and we don't mind about the consensus. We should discuss and have dialogues, even we may have divergent ideas and thoughts, because this is likely to lead to sound decisions and sound opinions. So the work of my colleague and my brother Nabil Ofen, who is an eminent professor, and we have many senior officials of the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria are present with us here. And this is just a brief summary of the work that you have done today, but we will submit the work that you have done yesterday and today, and the interventions of both national and international experts. It will be summarized, then we will publish it on our website. So you can go to our website, you will find everything, and even the recommendations will be submitted to the government because this topic is an important topic. We are at a crossroad. Algeria needs and requires more structural reforms. This is an access for the structural reforms that we should initiate. So since the 90s, we heard about these structural reforms, but now we should implement all these reforms. It shouldn't remain just an ink on a paper. So one of the reforms that we were talking about, we have these social security systems and these social protection systems. So in order to have a good structural system and structural reform, and in order to build a prosperous economy, so we have to develop and to improve all aspects of life. So now when we see the funds, the insurance funds are in deficit, so this is not the problem of the funds. So it's a wrong question. So we have to reconsider everything. We have to see how we can develop the resources that we have. We have to improve the procedures because we have many misconceptions, economic misconceptions, including the theories of the 40s and the 50s, 60s. They show their limits, and even around the world now, they are getting rid of these theories. So, a question: until when the state continues to fund these retirement funds? So we have to reconsider everything. So in the world, many world countries, they said if you have a fund in deficit, we cannot use the ERG. So the fund should be self-funded or self-financed. They have contributions and they should use the contributions. If the contributions are not enough, so then they should look for other alternatives, other resources. Yes, it's true. If tomorrow we start doing it yourself, then we look for the resources from the state. This is a wrong idea. So it's not a sound idea in Algeria because we don't respect the law in many cases and we don't master the legal concepts. So we don't respect these things. We are living around the world until tomorrow. If you negotiate with a foreigner, and if the foreigner finds out that you don't master the legal concepts, then he will ask a question how you are going to do with the legal conventions and agreements, especially the bilateral and the multilateral agreements. So we have to have the full mastery of all these legal concepts, especially those automatisms. So we have to master them all. So we are in a system, a capital system. We have the insurance, so it has a biggest share of the market. So in South Africa, the level of the penetration of the insurance, so the level of the contributions, according to the
المغرب العربي وكذلك في افريقيا 16% une exception l'Afrique du Sud. Tout le monde s'assure. علاه on s'assure contre quoi? Contre le risque. Et quand il y a le risque, c'est-à-dire on a peur de quelque chose. Et c'est l'économie de marché. يكونوا.
So the economy of market needs that everybody will, and every one of us will always be keen on investment and having their houses and the continuity of exploiting. So we are in a society that exclude risk but likes taking risks. So taking risk is a very dangerous stuff. So there is a big difference.
All those systems, they rely on the international values, competition, the cost values, and so on. So if you are in a sharing regime, you have to look for the balance. You have to balance by encouraging employment. That means to facilitate investment, let Algerians work, let Algerians open production units, import, export, leave Algerian, create the value and the richness. And that's what we call the failure of infrastructure or of failure of funds to cover a retirement. One retired person, we need five person. This is very few. We are in a dangerous situation since till who we keep using the state budget. Let you know that the international institution and the accord that we sign, the FMI and the World Bank refuse completely this kind of the practices, that's to say, to finance human retirement from the state budget. You have to move to this this reform. And to rely, so this structural reform and the fund should establish its own balance in a global policy to encourage employment, to encourage investment, to encourage the sharing and contribution and participation. For example, if we take Al-Hamiz, which is an big informal market, Barik Al-Alma also, they work without declaration, without sharing, without contribution, and he is Algerian. We cannot tell him that when you get sick or one of your family gets sick, do not use the public hospital. How can we count that? So, and as you know, there is a free healthcare in Algeria. So here, when you look upstream, we have to work hard upon that. In the upcoming months, we have to correct the model of growth, model of development. It should be inclusive. You have mentioned that in your recommendation. We have to have a comprehensive and inclusive development, social and economic one. You have to contribute. You have to pay your contribution. It is important. It is a key. Otherwise, the fund cannot have its finance balance if we stay in the capitalization system of sharing. Let's try to find a model that is good for Algeria. We have different resources. We have different richness resources. And you find ourselves, we are undercapitalized. We don't have enough money. So if, for example, if you want to finance a project, it's a loan or debt system. People, we don't have tools of a real market. We cannot say that we have to encourage people to use their funds, their money to invest in a local market. but it is difficult now with the same model, and if we carry on, so we cannot go further. So if the money goes off this circuit of the cash flow, they keep it at home. So people, if we don't encourage importation, so we are in dangerous situation. This topic is has a crucial with crucial importance, and I thank you very much because you raised this challenge. And this topic of social protection is not an accessible topic. It's not easy to deal with because there is a variety of problematics with with multiple means to conduct study, to explore, because, and also it's not easy. We have a lot of human resources, many studies, calculation. There is also a human dimension, as Mr. Nabil mentioned. We have to act using some scenario, long-term scenarios. When we might have an old society. When I was a student in the 70s or the 90s, I used to read the European magazine. They used in 90s, they used to mention Europe in 2030. They were talking about the demographic development, the aging of the society, and so on. If we try to remain in the same topic, it's the law of a huge mathematic number. The higher number is, the wider the horizon is, the better results you have. You should not act in short term. However, we have to think in a very long term way. As a council, we have to soothe this mindset, this culture, to go deeper in the analysis. But we have to take into consideration this human dimension, because the Algerian citizens should enjoy some advantage of the social protection, and Algerian generals, they try to compare the Algerian social system to another countries, and they say, look to those. But they do not know about the real situation and the type of contribution. And we have some, but they know that we have some problems. There are some illegal practices. And generally, the Algerian citizens see the final pay slip, and they do not see what happens in real life. This is why it's a high time Algerians left this logic. I know that many economic operators, are very serious, and they respect the law, and they pay a huge amounts of money. And I have defended them during the COVID-19 period, because thousands of companies, they paid people, and in spite of the fact that they didn't work, they paid the salaries, their tax, their human or their social protection, and they maintained the job for people. So this is why I hail and I salute their actions. A very friendly salute for those economic operators who maintain the Algerian economy since the first appearance of the COVID-19. Everybody applauds in the room this action. See, this is not an easy fact, but we are here to support the government. Let's be honest here. we have to tell the truth, because the welfare of the Algerian citizen is on the stake. When the Algerian when the president say we have to serve the Algerian welfare, this is why we have to prepare a tangible action plans. We have to improve social services, the funds, and the different form of the funds that we have to support them or improve them. We have especially boost the Algerian or national economy, and we have to get rid of that mindset that the good pays for the bad. So when there, as you know, that when there is the good money, try to or to cover or take advantage of the good one. We have to be all good to hand the bad practices of the market, of the administration, everywhere. We should not convey bad ideas and bad messages about the Algeria. We have to do real actions to encourage employment, to social protection. We have many tools, and let's be honest, and I'm not ashamed to say so. I know we have two types of economists. The one of the rights, they are known. I give you only advantages that and there is the left economists. They love subsidizing, and between those two schools there is a huge number of mechanisms and possibilities. We have to mention, or we have to know where we are. We have, for example, if we support, where is the approach that Algerians have? We have to go to less subsidization. We have to struggle against bad practice. If you have sterile administration or bodies that are sterile, why should we keep them? Because they are costful. It is a charge, and there is also institutions that are functioning very well. We have to encourage them, but we have to renew them, modernize them, and to let them aim or target the efficiency. I've always been proud that Algerian CNAS left that paradox. If they're using only the taxable person, or a person that is subject to taxes, and now we don't use this term only anymore, so we use them the covered person, the taxable person. We call it now the contributor, or now you call the administration or administrative customer. To a citizen remains a citizen. And to conclude, in order to have a real system and a real improvement, we must have a good citizen. And how to form a good citizen? We have to provide leisure, to have to provide good social protection. I am a teacher of the work economy. I have different motor, but I know the two as labor and leisure. For example, we have 24 hours. You have to implement it on yourself. How long you are going to work and how long you need leisure and the rest. Do we need social protection? In this social protection, we need a dimension for leisure because there are children in the stake, women and disabled people, and we have also vulnerable category. We have to provide them with a minimum degree of happiness. It's through this money, all those contribution, or these last years we pay contribution, but at this last year when you go to refund your medication, you cannot because it is excluded from the list of refundable medicine. We have to make some reforms of all the system. Let's not use only words, but we have to conduct a real reform. We have to target real objectives. You always listen to the president in every speech. He keeps insisting on focusing on citizens and their welfare. If you provide leisure, you will reduce social violence, and we can see everywhere. And this is scientifically proved as well. If you improve leisure and the budget balance, you will also gain the public health. In the United States, we evaluate the effect and the cost of the stress. And 10 years ago, I have wondered with an American, as an American citizen, how do you measure that? It's the cost of all medication and that are used by the population to get rid of the stress, and we found it is $200 billion in 2010 as cost of stress. But all logical policies are based on this step, saying that I gave more upstream to build the welfare, the development, the salary, to support the salary in order to gain in the long term. And if I keep being rigid, and I will have some, I don't, without wondering what is the cost on the public health, at least let's pay them. Pay them in upstream. And all the economic models stipulate that clearly. You have to take care of your citizen. We do not know better than the British theorists. They are the basis of everything, because and since 2009 they are defending this policy of the economic and social welfare of their citizen. And you can check Google, and you can check all the the sources of the British Prime Minister to make sure. And to conclude, thank you very much for your availability, for your time, for all your ideas, and please keep in touch with us through emails or our website. And I thank everybody, especially from the civil society, and I invite Matt to keep diffusing our messages. The president, we have keep saying we have to encourage, we have to keep sustaining the development. We have to keep encourage everybody to encourage development too. And thank you very much. I wish you a good weekend and see you very soon.
Recording has stopped.